Right, welcome to round 2 of the Jamega Tour event at Luton Hoo. As I said in round 1, I've had a couple months break from competition, so it's the first tournament back. Little run-up of events now before I go to South Africa for the winter to compete all year and hopefully bring you more of this content in South Africa. Now I'm actually recording this the day after. I've just played today in the local Pro 4-ball with Rich Woods, and we went and won that, which is great. We had 4 birdies each, shot 7 under, and won by a couple, which is always nice. Unfortunately, didn't record that round, so you're gonna have to watch this one instead. Now I'm not going to do any spoilers or anything. Some of you like check the scores, but all I will say is there's quite a bit of average stuff up until the end. So if you're getting bored, just stick around to the end because it does get better. Anyway, right, so 450 yard par 4 to start with. This was heading out to the right, almost took out Ben, my cameraman. He had a few choice words to say after that whistle past his left ear. So I had 190 in here, and I had it was like we actually had to look for this for a couple minutes to find it. This is an 8-iron, just trying to keep this low under the tree, get it moving forward. It's probably landed about 20 short of the green and just bounded through. Anyway, had a pretty good lie here, not much green to work with, but a pretty nice pitch. Yeah. And this time, as opposed to yesterday, actually just made a positive putt from 4 foot and knocked it in. Now 550 yard par 5 round the corner, just blocked this a tad, as you can see, but it does dogleg a long way round, and there's plenty of room. So I had 190 in here, right? This is how frustrating this is. So I had 190. I'm hitting a pitching wedge because it is downhill a bit, but it's so dry and bouncy that you're literally playing like a 150, 160 shot. This landed left, took a huge hop, and just didn't stop until it got in this long rough. Actually had a drop away from a staked tree, and then as I was addressing it, the ground is so like long and wispy, the ball moved a tiny bit, so I had to call a penalty myself. Knocked it out to here, and this is through rough, but there's literally no chance in stopping it, unless you hit like a mega flop off a hard down slope. Knocked it by, knocked it up, and a tasty 7 on the second hole, which isn't the best start from 190 on a par 5, I might add. Anyway, second hole is 380, and this is just there's a 250 carry on to get over the hazard. So for me, it's just hit 2-iron, left myself 135, and this is another slightly frustrating thing. So we've got 135 here uphill, and I'm thinking if the conditions are similar to the first, if all the greens are like similar softness or hardness, then I've got to probably allow for 5 yards of release. As it was, this actually spun back 20 foot down the green, and left myself a really long putt up the green. But no stress, knocked in for a par. This was playing 185-ish to this flag. It's a good par 3, this really good par 3. The green slopes big time back to front, so you don't really want to, you just don't want to hit it past the pin because it does get very quick. I hit a 7-iron here just into this hollow on the right. Now I would putt this all day if it weren't for 2 sprinklers that were directly in line, so I had no choice but to try and fly this on the green. Now downslope tight lie, I've just caught this, as you can see, just a tiny bit heavy. That was nearly good because it does get quick from there, but as it was, I think the cameraman was looking by the hole for that one. But yeah, tap and bogey, so 3 over through 3, not ideal. And here, big drive up here, this is 450 into winds, uphill, and I've left myself 85 yards into this one. So this is just a little 55-degree wedge, which is probably 5 to 10 long, which is not great. I'm actually going to get my yardages, get my wedge yardages down on the TrackMan again, and work out some like clockwork system, because that did work before quite well. So I'm just gonna go and get like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock with the different wedges, just to try and dial those in. It's so important when you're leaving yourself a lot of wedges. So this is 390 downhill. As you can see, the ball flight there, fairly decent 2-iron. Left myself just over 100 yards. 55 degree again. This is much better. Best wedge swing, one of the best wedge swings of the day. Dancing around the pin, and yeah, left myself a pretty makeable birdie putt. This is just outside the right edge. Yeah, just it sort of went past the rim. A bit frustrating. On to the par 3. This is 196 yards. Downwind. Just pulled an 8-iron here. Again, it pins at the back. It's not one that you want to flirt with going long. Left myself a big putt. But this was just like super slow up the hill. And then you can't see the hole here, which is a bit annoying, but another bogey. So we're 4 over, and we haven't hit it really that bad. Par 5 up the hill. Just took a huge kick right off the bouncy castle that is the golf course. Just getting it back in play of a wedge, and left myself about 80 yards. So 80 yards, slightly into wind. Was hoping this green in particular wouldn't be so soft, looking at the run up to and around it. But yeah, pitched it 2 foot. That's come back quite a bit. So we've got a 15 footer. Again, just roll past the edge. Onto 9. Big dog leg right. Wind was into today, so just hitting the 2-iron. It's getting that turn around the corner. It is very, like, the utmost importance to hit fairways, and I know there's a lot of comments about that in the first round, like you didn't hit many fairways. It's not easy, and Gary said this, one of the Jamega guys who works at Jamega Tour, used to play on tour, said it is just very hard to hit fairways this week, just because they are so bouncy and they're pretty narrow. So you're trying to hit a fairway at 300 to 350 yards when they're bouncy. It's quite hard, and this is quite funny. So this is 135 yards in the rough, so a bit of a fly lie. I hit a 55 degree wedge, trying to feel like I was hitting an 80-yard shot, and it still goes through the back. At that point, I think I let out an expletive, as it is. I don't know. It's just not really real golf, is it? When you're trying to play an 80-yard shot, 135 yards, and just hope that it jumps and bounces the right way. Anyway, this is the downhill par 5. Didn't hit a good 3-wood here, just sort of like flared this out to the right, a bit off the hill. Had 210 yards of hitting a wedge, and this is in the air. You're like, go, sit, go, sit, go. This one didn't get the 40-yard jump, so it just left me in front of the green. This is a bit tongue-in-cheek, and I know everyone's playing the same golf course, so I don't like. The thing is, when you're playing conditions where it's quite varied throughout the round, when it's that got a huge kick, you've got to not let that get to you, just because it goes downhill, it goes south very fast. If you start to complain about the fact that some greens are soft and some greens are rock, this is just a horrific golf swing. You got to just play what's in front of you and try and keep your level headed and try and keep positive, which is, I feel like I did that to a certain degree. As you know, my score's not in a good place up until here. I'm 5 over par, feeling like I'm hitting it okay, but this is a bit of a turning point in the round. So if you're still here, it gets better. So this is I actually chose the 50-degree wedge here. I could see that this green was burnt out and firm, just because of the colour of it. So it's allowed a bit of release with this one. Solid par putt up the hill. This is the par 3, 211 yards. They moved the tee up today. Someone commented about it's always a par 3 at 245. The real tee's at 270, so questionable par 3 from 270. But this is 211, wind off the right. This is a 6-iron. Decent swing. And then got a bit of a snaky, just falls to the right, birdie putt.
Oh, big
which is slotted, and that's a bit of a relief. Sometimes you need like a putt to drop, and then you feel like you get on a bit of a roll. This was, the 2-iron does not hit how I wanted to hit it. I was trying to like ride the wind and try and get this up close, but as it was, left myself 85 yards. The wind started to really pick up at this point. This is a 60-degree wedge, which are knocked in close, just like 2 foot. So another birdie. This is 200-yard par 3. Nice little plane going in there. Wind was pretty strong off the right at this point, so this is a 7-iron, just hitting up the right and letting the wind bring it in. As you can see with the ball flight, landed like 5 short. Took a bit of a just a huge hop up and left, but birdie putt, fairly straight. This moved like a couple inches off the left edge. So getting it back together, and this is the nemesis. Ended up just clipping the top of the tree with a bit of a toey 2-iron. From there, absolute hack. Pulled it slightly, more of this stuff, the knee high, and had 170 yards in which I hit a pitching wedge really hard, and I feel like this is where like the strength training and stuff really helps. Camera's going a bit mental, but this pitched just short and left, so left myself a chance. Well, escaping with a par after those 2 first shots is always good, but just thought I'd leave it 5 foot short and leave myself a downhill swinger. Hold it. So keeping it together, fighting back. This is the other way of playing the hole. Better way. So I made 9 yesterday, hitting driver twice up into the stuff on the right. Today hit 2-iron off the tee. Had 250, so this is in between 4-iron and 2-iron. So just tried to hit like a little 2-iron and get it moving forward, which ended up slightly long and right, but a nice little pitch.
Sit down.
Almost hold it. And then yeah, got it back to 1 over. And then last hole. This is not a good golf hole. Dog legs right to left. It's sort of hard to not find yourself behind a tree on this hole like the last. But I had 170 yards, just trying to chip a low 5-iron through there. And it's just popped up whether it's going to be soft or hard. This one was fairly hard, and I got a very, this is just quite an easy chip, but just come slightly, but just like it didn't come slightly, it was a couple grooves high on the face, and got par putt. So it just slides by. Now unfortunately, like I said, couldn't get today's round recorded, just like the fact that when me and Rich shot 59, couldn't record that. But anyway, I'm sure we'll get some low ones on the channel soon. Next week, Jamega, we'll be back for that, and we'll be back for more content soon. Cheers.